Welcome to Going Underground, a podcast by yorkcalling.co.uk. My name is Graham Smith, Editor-in-Chief of York Calling. In this episode, I chat to a very special guest, Jay Buchanan from the American rock band Rival Sons. In between shows with the legendary Guns N' Roses, they are playing their own headline tour across Europe, including a stop-off at York's Barbican. Keep listening to find out what the band have in store for us, as well as how it feels to be one of Ozzy Osbourne's favourite bands. So, in between supporting Guns N' Roses on tour and being announced as part of the lineup of Black Sabbath's Back to the Beginning show, American rockers Rival Sons will be coming to York. With a show at the Barbican on the 24th of June, now seems like a good time to connect with them. I'm pleased to welcome their singer, Jay Buchanan, to Going Underground. Jay, welcome.
Hello, Graham. It's good to be here, buddy.
Before we talk about your York show, you've just been touring Canada with Bush. How did that go? How was it?
We were out there with Bush and Filter, and it was a great time. We were only on the road from 3 weeks. We went coast to coast. So we started on the west side in Victoria, BC, all the way out to Halifax, Nova Scotia at the end of 3 weeks. And we played a couple of headline dates um, in the interim and ended up being just a very, very relaxing, great audiences, a really good time. I think that we had wanted to take that tour as sort of a warm up for this long UK and European run with Guns N' Roses. We wanted to be able to hit the road with Guns N' Roses, with our crew and with the band nice and warmed up. I think we achieved that.
Good stuff. I'm glad to hear that you're nice and warmed up. As I mentioned, you're on the lineup of Black Sabbath's Back to the Beginning show. I mean, you were handpicked by Black Sabbath to play their final tour, and Ozzy Osbourne has mentioned you guys as one of their favorite bands. How does it feel to be mentioned in that regard?
I mean, back when they handpicked us to be the sole opener for their The End tour, and it's almost a little bit too much to really comprehend. It's almost a little bit too much to really hang your hat on, other than the largest takeaway, I think, for us and the band was Black Sabbath giving us the room to grow on their arena um, stages every night, and them giving us them playing their part in us getting um, that arena band education. It's so nice to get something like that from someone like Black Sabbath.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
I feel that we left that tour a different band.
they're legends of the game, so I'm sure you must have learned a thing or two from them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the greatest thing in terms of learning from Black Sabbath. I don't think that I'm the type of artist, or maybe that we're the type of band where we're going to, you know, stand side stage and study what they're doing and try to pick anything up. I think it's just being around such a legendary band, knowing that they picked you, it puts a spring in your step. And I think any bit of confidence that you can glean from anywhere, artistically, um, it just gives you more strength to proceed into something that's unknown, because that's what we do. We make songs out of nothing that never existed before, and then we got to go out there and get in front of thousands of people every night. And so anytime you can get a leg up um, from one of your heroes, it's gonna put a lot of petrol in your tank for sure. And it certainly did.
On that topic, as a musician, what inspires you?
That is one of the most common questions I think I've been asked ever since people have been asking me questions about what I do. But I mean, it's for good reason. And I think that the only reason I say that is that, Graham, I don't know. I really don't like if I could name for you exactly what inspires me, I would be out there doing that instead of this, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's really one of those things, man.
Well, as a band,
I think it works this way. I think it works this way. I think that I've learned throughout the years, if I'm sitting around trying to write music, or if I'm trying to be inspired, I think that it begins for me with making myself happy, um, and making myself throwing myself just on the edge of discomfort. Happiness and comfort are two different things, but like throwing me just far enough outside of my element where I'm going to have to discover something new. I know that that's a big one. Wonderful music always inspires you. Wonderful films, books, those things. Hanging out with your kids, you know. But when it comes like to real inspiration on how to do it, uh, I think that watching other people do it really well is definitely inspirational. I think that's a big one.
yeah, as a band, you've got like a really classic rock sound. I mean, what sort of led you in that direction? Who were you thinking of when you were coming up with that sound?
Well, coming up with our sound, it's really interesting here, because I know for me, classic rock or rock for the most part was never something, you know, when I was like a teenager in high school or something. I think I was listening I was listening to rock and roll then, but otherwise I didn't really have any use for it. But when the band got together and we were going to be a rock band, I really rely on in our group, I rely on my writing partner, guitar player Scott Holiday. Well, I depend on him to keep that all of the guitar riffs and everything. I depend on him to keep that edge because he eats, sleeps, and breathes rock and roll. It's part of who he is. And same with our drummer, Michael Miley. They love that frenetic, that bombastic energy. And I really feel like that I could look to them to legitimize the rock aspect of everything that we do. If it were, I mean, because if I were writing all of the material or all of the music, I think it'd be a lot more middle of the road, singer songwriter type stuff. And I think that that's part of the element of the identity of the band. Is that juxtaposition of styles when we come together and make music.
Yeah, yeah. So as you've mentioned, you're about to go on tour again. It's kind of some shows are with Guns N' Roses, some you're headlining yourselves.
Yeah,
It's across Europe in May, June, and July. One of the dates is York, here in the
yeah.
UK.
Hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but have you been to York before? Have you played York before?
Oh yes, yes,
Oh,
certainly.
oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so getting back to York, we're going to be coming from Birmingham just before York, and then so we're going to have goodness a three in a row. So we have Birmingham, York, and then we have to jump out to for Stockholm, fly out to show there. But sandwiched right in the middle there is going to be York on the 24th, and certainly looking forward to it. Playing in the UK is different. The UK has a different. It's got a different energy from other countries, and I mean, of course, why wouldn't it? Every culture has its own. You know, every culture has its own unique energy for us when we look out to the audience, and even the way that they react to the music. Every culture is different, but I think that I look to the UK and the rest of the band does too, as the UK was certainly where we were able to get our first real foothold as a band. It was like the first place that really where an audience really stood up. We did well in the United States and everything when we were first starting out, touring in a van and doing those things. But I think coming as an American band coming over to the UK and getting the recognition and getting that open-armed welcome and appreciation. I really feel like it was vital for those early years for our band to get that kind of recognition, from the press and from the audience and from radio. It's a big deal. So when we come back and we play the UK, you guys are absolutely part of our origin story, like a crucial part of our origin story. So coming back always feels good.
Brilliant. And what have you got in store for the fans here in York, or would that be telling?
Oh, I think it's going to be more of the same. We'll be peppering in a couple of our new songs. Let's see. I think York. Oh, yeah, that's right. York is a headline show. So I think that, yeah, that's going to be a good show. It's going to be a great show. I'm positive of that because when we go out on these long runs and we play the role of a support band, which we've done a lot. I mean, Graham, we've opened for everybody. I mean, like everybody, you know. Um, and I think that when Rival Sons goes out on a long run and we are the opener, when we break off to play our own headline shows, I think that we tend to really flex,
Mm.
and really hang it out there and just get as reckless as we can because it's like stretching out. We're not confined to play a 45-minute set, which, like being out with Guns N' Roses, going out there and playing 45 minutes or however long our set is, like, yeah, it's an honor. We're really excited to do that and thankful. But then, getting to leave those parameters and play our own headline set is always, it's always a lot more reckless. So in terms of what to expect, I think that you can expect that typical Rival Sons recklessness and passion. They're going to get a little bit of the new material, and then the rest of it will be previous material. It's tough to pack in 9 records in 90 minutes or 2 hours or whatever, however long the set's going to be. It's tough to economically pack that many records,
Yeah. Well,
into that time frame.
we're certainly looking forward to having you. So yeah, Rival Sons will be playing at the Barbican in York on the 24th of June. Jay, thanks so much for joining the Going Underground podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, of course, Graham. We'll see you in New York, and thanks everybody for listening and for supporting the arts.
You have been listening to Going Underground by yorkcalling.co.uk, presented and produced by Graham Smith. If you want to know more about music and culture in York and beyond, head to your podcast platform of choice to hear more episodes of Going Underground and our sister podcast, The 5 Albums You'll Hear in Heaven. Until next time, be well and happy listening.